Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever the case may be. Welcome to day 19 of 30 days, 30 bands, all live albums. I'm your host, Davies Tallow. And today we're going to be tackling another band from the 1960s, which seems to be a recurring theme this week, which is all right. Another band that started in 1967 in Blackpool, England, and whose mainstay has been Ian Anderson on flute and vocals, occasional guitar. Martin Bear, who was the longest serving member, is no longer with them, but he was good with them for a good portion of their career and is back in action after a good, I think, 10-year lull. Just put out the Zealot Gene, which is a great album. Definitely go check it out. I did a review of it, so if you want to check that out. But anyway, we'll be discussing live album that came out in May 28th, 1978. A little less than a year before I saw Tall. In fact, Tall was the very first band I ever saw live. Uh, didn't really know very much about them. I was in more in Kiss and ELO and stuff like that. But a friend of mine said, "I got tickets to this concert. Do you want to go?" And I said, "Sure." But it was a great concert. It was at the Event Center in Ogden at Weber State University, which was called Weber College at the time. But it was a great concert. It was in support of their not support of their Heavy Horses tour. It was in support of their Stormwatch album, which came out the following year. But what we're going to be discussing, was recorded during their support of their Hippie Horses album, which of course is Bursting Out live. There's Ian on the cover looking demonic like always. No, Ian doesn't look demonic all the time. Anyway, live shot. The band on the back. There's you got Martin Bear, Ian, John Evan, Barrymore Ballo, John Glasscock, who passed away, I believe, the year following, and David Palmer, who is now D. Palmer. We won't go into that. That's his business, not everybody else's. But yeah, this is a great album. Classic lineup period. I mean, it was right after the Stormwatch tour that things started falling apart. After John Glasscock passed away, Barrymore Barlow lost his drive to continue, so he left, and then everybody else decided to call it quits or go to do other things, leaving Ian Anderson and Martin Bear, who would regroup and go on to do other things, other albums. But anyway, starts out strong with No Lullaby, about a young baby acting like a knight, with a rattle in hand, thrust and parry, Then it goes into Sweet Dream, and Skating Away on the Thin Ice of New Day. How many times have we all done that occasionally? Skating away on that thin ice. Are we going to fall through, or are we going to get through it? Get to the other side. Followed by Jack in the Green. Fantastic song. In this case, Ian says, "Oh, they're plural. They're Jacks in the Green." And One Brown Mouse. Great little tune from Heavy Horses. A New Day Yesterday, but it's an old day now. Great one from can't remember this. So dang embarrassing when I can't remember an album, and it's so simple. Stand Up. Why can't I think of that? Good grief. Yeah. Then Ian does a little flute solo improvisation. And God rest you, merry gentlemen. And Bori, I think that's how you pronounce that. Little medley right there. Then it goes right into Songs from the Wood. Let me bring you songs from the wood to make you feel much better than you could know. Better than you know. Then side one ends with Thick as a Brick. Um, Not a big fan of Thick as a Brick. A lot of people revere that album, along with A Passion Play. I really, I don't know. I just don't get Thick as a Brick. In fact, I did a ranking of albums by Tall, and of course that was down toward the bottom. I can't remember what I ranked it at, but I just I've listened to it and listened to it. Sometimes I can get through it, but most of the time I just don't get it. The allure of it. It just I don't know. Uh, Side two or well, let's see, we got two discs here. This is okay. Apparently the CD's got two discs. Of course, where I got the album version here. Disc two starts out with Hunting Girl. Hunting Girl. You want a hunting girl? Then goes to Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die. Um, Now that one I like. That album I like. A lot of people do not like. A lot of Tall fans do not like Too Old to Rock, Too Young to Die. Uh, I actually enjoy that album immensely, but it's really weird how I don't like Thick as a Brick, but everybody else loves that one, and vice versa on Too Old to Rock and Roll. So go figure. Uh, then we got the little instrumental Conundrum. Then Minstrel in the Gallery, another classic. Cross-Eyed Mary, another classic from Aqualung. Uh, that goes into another instrumental quatrain. Then we go into the last Aqualung. Gotta have Aqualung. Another one of my all-time favorites. And then followed with Locomotive Breath. Another great song. And then ends with the Dam Busters March. So all in all, a great album. If you've never heard this album, go check it out. Again, the players on this: Ian Anderson, Martin Baird, John Glasscock, John Evan, D. David Palmer, and Barrymore Barlow. The classic lineup would have all these players with Jeffrey Hammond, but he decided. I believe he left in '76. I don't think he was on Songs from the Wood. Let me see here. Was he on Songs from the Wood? I can get through all. Goodness, period. Yeah, he left after Mr. in the Gallery. Decided to go do other things, which is too bad. He'd come out with weird outfits on. He had one that had black and white stripes, I believe, striped bizarre. And from what I hear, I don't know how true this is, but he supposedly burnt that costume, that getup. So, which is quite sad. They should have. he should have kept it. They could put it in a museum or something, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something. But anyway, there you have it. Tall live bursting out. Ian and the boys, and Ian, he's still plugging along. And somebody pointed, I think it was Pete Pardo, or somebody pointed this out the other day, and I'd never really noticed, but Ian really no longer sings his vocals. He speaks them more than sing, and which I understand. Ian is getting up there in years. How old is? Oh, good grief. Yeah, 74 years old. So for a lot of us, retirement age, way past retirement age, but he's still going strong. So, and he, like a lot of rock and rollers say, or have said, you don't really retire from music. You don't do as much, or well, basically the only time you really retire is when you kick the bucket. So, and I tend to believe that's true. I mean, it's a hard thing to stop. When it's been in your life and your blood ever since you can remember. Um, I've always dreamed about being a rock star, of course. When you're into music, who hasn't, And so I've always wondered if I had got into music and been in a band, would I or could I really retire from it? I tend to think, well, yeah, but the only time you and I've noted this from not only uh, musicians but sports uh, people, sports figures. Uh, they have that one bad game, like this past fall or this past winter. Uh, Tom Brady, for example, decided to retire, and when he said he was going to retire, I'm like, okay, is he going to really retire, or isn't he? And I had this feeling that given a couple months, he would change his mind. And lo and behold, he did. Uh, and that's the thing. You have that, whether it's a bad game or a bad concert or bad concerts or a bad concert tour, and you get down the dumps and you think, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to quit. A couple days later or a couple weeks or whatever, you re-energize and you think, I don't want to quit. Why am I quitting? Why do I want to quit? No. Um, and that's just being human. That's the way things can be. That's why I tend. Well, here I am rambling, but it also can be put down when you have a bad day. You're at work and you're doing something, and all of a sudden things are just not clicking. And you get frustrated, and you try harder and harder, and you get more and more frustrated with the situation. And I've done this many a time at work. You need to step before you freak out and say I quit or I've had it with this. You need to step away for a few minutes, maybe an hour, take a break, and then come back. And I found that when I do that, when I get frustrated, if I step away, put it out of my mind, go do something else, and come back, everything starts clicking. I get it done. And I believe that happens with in everything, music, sports. When you get frustrated, you step away, go do other things, and come back. How many times have we seen bands go on hiatus, or people think, oh, they've quit. You know, uh, Candlemass, perfect example. If you know who Candlemass is, they're a doom metal band. I think they've went on hiatus twice, and every time they've come back and been better than ever, recharged their creative juices, and re-energized. So if you ever think about quitting, don't. Just step away, take a breather, and come back. Whether it's a couple hours, a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months, step away and then come back, and things will be bright and cheery, and you'll get on with life. So, how I got onto that, I can't remember. Oh, I need to step away for a couple weeks. I need a couple weeks in the Bahamas or someplace. Oh, but the summer's just starting, and we're going to get busy at the shop, and uh, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the warm weather, and the good times that are going to be happening, like 4th of July, the 24th here in Utah. We do have two holidays here in Utah, the 4th and the 24th. That's a Utah holiday. Only happens in Utah. Of course, I'm sure somewhere somebody's moved out of the state and still celebrated it. It's like when people move here from another country, another state, and they celebrate stuff here that we have no idea what they're talking about. So, but anyway, have a good day, and we'll see you on day 20. And keep smiling.